Hello, how are we doing? Today, of course, marks 1 year post-op from my mini gastric bypass surgery that I did have on Valentine's Day last year. What a year it's been. What a year it has been. Absolutely insanely nuts. I was just scrolling through my page then, actually just going back to see when the last time that I even came live was. And it was early November, so I am so sorry that it has been so long that I have jumped on and come live and had a bit of a chat and a bit of a catch up. Obviously, I have still been posting each week, letting everybody know how I'm going, like with my weigh-ins and doing those monthly measurements as well. But yes, it's definitely been a while since I've been live, so my bad. I am sorry about that. Hello, beautiful Mel. How are you doing? So 1 year, 365 days. 58.1 kgs down. For our American friends, I quickly converted that to about 128 pounds. Sounds way better in pounds when you're losing weight. 128 pounds. Gone from wearing a size 26 clothing to a size 12 in 1 year. It has just been insane. But to be honest, what I've gained in the last year is more than the change in my body. As someone very beautiful, very gorgeous sent me a message this morning, they had surgery on the same day as me last year. So they were my surgery buddy. And the message was along the lines of how incredible it is to be able to live life now, not just watch it. And that really struck me. You know, when you are so big, you spend a lot of your time watching life happen. You can't participate in so many things for so many reasons. You're over the weight limit. You're just physically not able. The embarrassment factor that might come with the fact that you'll only be 2 minutes in and you'll be dripping with sweat and bright red. Whatever it might be. There's so many reasons. But until I got that message this morning, it hadn't really struck me that much. That I am now getting to participate in life, not just watch it from the sidelines. And it's so true. And that's honestly probably one of the biggest gifts that this surgery has given me. So a quick recap, I guess, about what's happened since we chatted last time in November. It's been a crazy few months, to say the least. There has been a lot going on in my life personally, a lot of emotional stuff, a lot of just big heavy family stuff going on, so it has been tough mentally and emotionally, that goes without saying. How have I coped with that in terms of food? So probably the prime example is about mid-December I very tragically lost my cat. So he was my 12-year-old baby. Obviously, he'd been in my life longer than my son has at 9. Very, very dear to my heart. He was truly my baby. He unfortunately, tragically got killed in a dog attack that I came across and had to try and break up. So, you know, very traumatic experience. For about 48 hours after that, yeah, man, I ate some chocolate. That default setting just came back in of comfort food, comfort food, comfort food. I ate some chocolate, I ate some ice cream, I ate some biscuits. I did. I really, really did. A lot less quantity that I would have eaten, you know, a year ago if the same thing had happened. But that default setting is still there. It absolutely is there. And it's just something that I picked up immediately, but I allowed myself a period of time, right? 24 hours. You need this right now to get through this. You can do this, 24 hours, but then we're back on the wagon. And for the most part, that's worked. A big thing about this journey that a lot of people will repeat to you, you know, in terms of like the dietitians and the surgeons and everything like that, is that many people that come into a weight loss surgery have spent their entire life in diet culture. Now, what I mean by that is you see a plate of food, you drawn to the plate with the cake, the biscuits, whatever it might be, and you're like, oh, there's drool coming out, and you're like, I want that. And immediately there's flags going in your head going, but you can't have it, that makes you fat, you just have to look at that, your thighs will get bigger. That's that diet culture mentality where anything high calorie, high sugar, high fat is bad. And that takes a lot of rewiring. And everybody tells you you have to let go of the diet culture. That after the surgery, this gives you the gift of being able to live life to moderation. No longer is food bad. No longer is any food on the table, in front of you, at the supermarket, at the bakery, whatever, no longer is any single one of those foods bad. It's about quantity. It's about moderation. And when you're almost 40 and you have spent your entire life on diet culture, like I think I was like 16, 17 when I first went to Weight Watchers. So I was first aware of food numbers and calorie countings, all of those things from my teens. That is well and truly hardwired into me. So it is about catching myself and psychologically going to myself, no, it's okay. You can comfort yourself right now with a bit of chocolate in moderation, and we allow our time. So that's definitely been something that I guess I've been really proud of myself about, A, catching it, like physically, psychologically being able to see that, and B, allowing myself the space to do what I needed to do. Christmas, of course, has happened in that time, which is a crazy time of year. Definitely different. It's definitely a different Christmas day to any other day I've probably ever had Christmas-wise. You know, you no longer end the day feeling like, oh, my pants are too tight, like I need to go have a nap and have a food coma. That just doesn't happen. But again, I enjoyed everything just in moderation. I even had a little bit of pavlova and ice cream at lunchtime. I just had a little bit. And what's really, really cool is that I only need a little bit. I feel satisfied after a little bit. Whereas before, I would have had seconds, and then when no one was looking, I might have pulled some out of the fridge and eaten it with my fingers. I would have never been satisfied. But now a little bit does satisfy you. And again, it's that diet culture. It's about allowing yourself to have it and not crucifying yourself for having it. So that was good. One thing I did discover, I think it was Christmas night, I discovered that I am still not able to tolerate fizzy. I had not tried anything carbonated or fizzy since my surgery day. It was something that I was warned about very early on, that there is a very high chance that I will never be able to tolerate fizzy again. Some people can, by all means, we're all different, but a high chance that I won't be able to. Now, the big reason for that, obviously, is just the limited space that is in my stomach, right? You know, a typical adult, their stomach is around about 2 litres in size. Mine's now probably about 350 mils at this point. So by the time you've had a couple of mouthfuls of something fizzy, and then it pops and it bubbles and all of that gas expands, there's just no room. I have not had a V in a year, Nikki. It's over a year, because I quit V on the first day of my pre-op diet, and pre-op diet started on the 1st of February. So over a year, I have not had a V. And I was at least a bottle or a can a day of V for probably 15 years before that. That's shocking when you say it out loud. Yes, so that's been a huge change. And was very, very difficult, I have to say. Probably the one time in this journey that I've struggled the most with not having V. For anyone overseas, not sure if you have V worldwide, it's energy drink, is when I did my flash sale in August last year. So through my Pure Romance by Brie business, I run an annual flash sale. It's massive, it's huge. It's basically like 4 days of non-stop work. Like I'll sleep for 3 or 4 hours a night. Otherwise, I'm just gun to the metal the whole time for 3 or 4 days. Just head down, bum up, do it. And traditionally, I've got through that with a lot of V. And I really missed V last year. I really, that was the one time that I think I actually had a cry at one point. I was overtired at this point, but I think I literally had a cry that I just wanted a V. But yeah, otherwise no V. No V for over a year. Fizzy through a metal straw as it takes away a lot of the fizz. I'm so going to try that. See, I love this. I love this community thing. It helps. Love that. Metal straw, writing it down now. Fizz. So yes, Christmas night, where I went for Christmas evening was with friends and their family, and they were playing a drinking game at one point. And obviously I don't drink a lot these days, and so what they'd said, instead of putting like a shot, because they were having shots, the loser would have to have a shot, someone had like a premix fizzy with a little bit in it. So they just filled up the shot glass with that for me. Great, let's do it. Haven't tried fizzy. It's only a shot glass worth. I want to play the game. I want to be part of this. Let's do it. Yeah, it stayed down for about probably 4.5 minutes. About 4.5 minutes later, I was over there on the edge of the veranda and it was all coming up. It just got so tight, and it was just like I knew it had to come up. There was no way I could keep it down there. So I quickly learned that fizz is still not a go, but going to try it with a metal straw. And something quite funny is that even throughout all of this weight loss, obviously, you know, each week, if you've been following me, you've watched each week I have my weigh-in, the weight just sort of slowly ticks down. I put on weight over Christmas. I can't even eat bugger all, and I still put on weight over Christmas. I had quite a chuckle about that. Not much. Like, in reality, I think I put on just shy of 1 kilogram. Not a lot. But in reality, it's probably a bit more than that, because I wasn't losing either. So it was probably a couple of kilos that I put on, which I have quickly lost again now. Like my weigh-in yesterday, I'm at the lowest weight that I've ever been in this journey, at 85 flat, so 85 kilos. So it came off again, but I did give myself a bit of a chuckle, considering I know how much I eat, and it's not a lot. And I still managed to put on weight. So yeah, just like everyone else. Also went away on a bit of a mini holiday over the January school holidays, headed up to Hanmer Springs, which is like a thermal alpine reserve here in New Zealand. And that was incredible. And when I think back on it and think on that message this morning about how we get to now live life, not observe life, that holiday really encompasses that for me. So we spent one of the days at the Hanmer Alpine swim park. So a whole lot of hot pools. There's hydro slides there for the kids. Just a big pool complex, right? Now, my kid loves hydro slides. In the past, when the marriage was still together, I would be the mum in the pool, down the bottom, watching, and his dad would be the one that would go up and down the stairs all day with him, and around they would go. Not because I don't like hydro slides, because I love a good hydro slide. Don't get me wrong, love a good hydro slide. I wasn't physically able. I would maybe do one in the morning and then give myself a couple of hours to get over the stairs, and then I would do another one in the afternoon, and that would be me done. So obviously marriage not together, so the extra, it wasn't there, it was me, and I did it. I did it over and over and over and over and over again. I didn't even work up a sweat. My heart rate didn't go up. My breathing didn't escalate. You know, the smallest hydro slide I counted 78 steps on, and there were others that were higher. And I got to live life, not watch it. And then another day we went on a jet boat ride. So the reception area that you get to is in this beautiful building up on the cliff, and then you have to walk down this shingle, quite steep track down to the boat. You go for your jet boat ride, and then you have to walk back up. And on the walk down, and even on the way up, I observed these people around me, some my age, some older, that were probably even less than what I used to weigh. They struggled. Some of them would have to do a third of the hill, and then they stop, catch their breath, sit down, you know, recoup, do another third, stop, sit down. I didn't. In fact, I helped these people get up. I held their arm. I helped them get up the hill because I could. And I also knew what it felt like to be them. I totally understood it, because a year ago that would have been me. In fact, a year ago, if I had got there and realized that that was the situation, I wouldn't have gone on the ride, because I would have been worried I wouldn't get back up the hill. And humiliation is real. So I actually wouldn't have gone on the ride. So I got to live life, not watch it. And that's really, really cool. That hill is nasty, right, Hayley? It is nasty. It is steep. It is loose shingle. I mean, it's a health and safety nightmare, let's be honest. Only in New Zealand would they not have a van and drive you down. I thought also it might be quite funny, or quite timely, to go through some of the really common questions I get, and also comments that I get. Being a year out, obviously, I'm still learning. There's still things that I come across and I'm like, oh, can I do that? Don't know. But we're very much now at the point where I've potentially heard most of the things that are going to get thrown at me. You know, in the start, it was the things like you're taking the easy way out. You know, things like that, which I still get it odd from strangers, but not so often. And I can quite happily, hand on heart, go, this is not the easy way out, all right? I can tell you it is not the easy way out. But one thing that often gets asked to me is, what's your goal weight? Have you not hit it yet? So my goal when I went into this, I had two goals. One was to get to a weight that I could comfortably live under 100 kilograms. Now, knowing that even once you get to your new set weight, what your body believes to be your new set point, that everybody fluctuates, especially with women, with monthly cycles, all of these things, time of the year, you fluctuate. So it's very easy to fluctuate in like a 5-6 kilo range, right? So I wanted to be low enough under 100 kilos that I would still have room to fluctuate and comfortably live in double figures. 85 kilos, I'm there, baby. The other goal was to be able to buy clothes in mainstream shops. Now, when I was a size 26, I couldn't. I would go to certain shops that I knew had clothes that went large enough, and I didn't buy clothes I liked. I bought clothes that fit, because I didn't have the luxury of a shop full of clothes and going, I like that style, I want that, but in that color, because that does not exist at size 26. I'm a size 12. I can go into any shop, and I can buy clothes that fit me. So if I stopped losing weight this week, hand on heart, I am happy. I am so happy. I would happily live at this weight. But that's the thing. My goal weight is not up to me. And that's something that a lot of people do not realize. My goal weight is not on me. It's not on my shoulders. That is my body's decision. I have no impact over that. Yes, I could affect the natural course that my body goes on. I could start living on chocolate, on high-calorie foods. I could start eating the wrong food, which of course would slow down, stop any weight loss. But long-term, that's going to make me sick. Long-term, I'm going to become malnourished. I'm going to become unhealthy because I'm not giving my body what it needs. So it's not really a realistic option. So I literally just keep eating what I'm eating, keep focusing on my protein foods, and my body will get to a point where it goes, you know what? We're happy here. And it'll stop. And it quite honestly and truly is up to my body, not up to me. So I don't know what weight I'm going to go to. I don't have a clue. It is in fact, very common for people that have had the surgery that I've had to actually get a point where you look too skinny. And I've been warned about this by the psychologist and also the surgeon. That often when your body is trying to find that new set point, find that new comfortable spot for you, that often it goes too far. Often people end up looking half dead, or they end up looking like maybe they're going through a cancer treatment, something like that, like very gaunt, very ill. Because what can happen is your body will keep losing weight, and then it will go, whoa, hang on, hold the bus, we got too small. No, this is not okay. And it will force you to put weight back on to get to its set point. So it is very common to get too skinny before you set. Very, very, very common, in fact. So I'm on the bus. I'm going on the journey. I'm not the driver. I am truly the passenger in terms of that. But what's your goal weight is a common question of mine. And people are very surprised when I say, it's not up to me. It's up to my body. The last probably 6 to 8 weeks, I have started getting a new comment, which I haven't got up to now, which was, oh, you're getting too skinny. You need to stop. You need to put weight on. No, you're getting too skinny. No, you're too skinny now. Hearing this more and more and more. Now, I did actually speak to a dear friend of mine a couple of weeks ago, and I made a deal with her. And I explained about how you get too skinny, you look gaunt, and then your body will bounce back. Because obviously there's a whole big aspect of body dysmorphia. You know, when I look in the mirror, I don't see what other people see when they look at me. I still see a much bigger person than I am. It's only when I see photos or I can actually look at the measurements and the numbers have got smaller, that I believe it. I don't see it in the mirror. So I've made a deal with my friend that if I get to that point where I look too skinny, that I truly look like I'm getting ill, I look too skinny, that she needs to tell me. Because I'm not going to know. I'm not going to recognize it. And therefore, when my body also realizes it and starts pushing my weight back up, I need to know in my head, this is because you were too skinny, your body's taking control. And I don't want to freak out about the fact that while I'm doing nothing different, my weight is coming back up. So I've made a deal with her, and that's her job to tell me that. And I trust her, and I believe her. But otherwise, I don't believe I'm too skinny. Again, I've got the body dysmorphia, but I mean, I see a lot of the loose skin and stuff that I've got, which I know I'm very lucky with. I have absolutely minimal loose skin. But yeah, I don't see that I'm too skinny yet. And I'm still wearing size 12. And like 14 is comfortable, 12 fits. So it's not like I'm in size 6 or anything yet, no. So, but I am definitely getting a lot of the, you're too skinny, you need to stop. That's coming in more and more now. Another big one is, how much do you exercise now? Now, I'm definitely not the poster child for weight loss surgery in the exercise realm. I have always maintained in my life that I'm allergic to exercise. I do not enjoy it. I do not desire to do it. Doesn't interest me. I did go into this journey telling myself that once you lose weight, once just general life, gets easier, that you're going to get back on that wagon. You're going to get into it. You're going to go back and start doing boxing training, because I loved doing boxing training, or you're going to get back into your swimming, whatever it is, you're going to exercise. Yeah. So, hasn't really happened. I haven't done a single, even slight bit of planned exercise since surgery, outside of normal life. I mean, sure, I walked from my car in the car park to the shop. I did run up and down the stairs at the Hydro Slide. I clean my house. I do these things, but outside of general life, no. And I know it's healthy and all of these things. Like I say, I'm not the poster child for that. I'm quite happy to put my hand up to that do not follow my lead on this one. But no, I haven't exercised at all. This has purely been as a result of the fact that my body was replumbed and I don't get a lot of food in. It is not the result of exercise in the slightest. But Hamna really showed me that even though I'm not exercising, I have a lot more fitness. I could do the Hydro Slides. I used to, when I would vacuum my home, I would have to do it in 3 sections. I would do a third. I would sit down. I would be literally dripping with sweat. It would drip off my nose, off my chin. It would just literally, I would be soaked. I would have to catch my breath and I would do another third. Whereas I can actually clean my entire house, mop, vacuum. I can do the lot, change the beds. I can do the lot non-stop. And my breathing doesn't even increase. So I totally know that my fitness has increased. Interestingly enough, though, I have significantly lost strength. It's always been something I've been quite proud about, that I am strong. I have always been a very, very strong woman. Even when I was boxing, I would spar with the men. because I could hit like the men could. Like I was always strong. Turns out a lot of that was obviously to do with just the counterweight of my body, because I'm now struggling to move pieces of furniture that I used to just quite easily go, and it would be moved. So obviously just not having that mass behind me, that weight behind me has totally diminished my strength. I still think that I'm probably a lot stronger than my peers, but for me, for where I've come from, I'm finding myself really weak. It's something that I've really noticed. I'm like, I've lost my strength that I had. I've always had that strength and it's gone. Like I was the one that I was in there and someone was moving. I was in there with the blokes carrying all the big stuff. It didn't worry me. It didn't break a sweat. I can't do that now. Really, really can't do that. So definitely a loss of strength. Another big question I get is, what can you eat? What do you eat? I can, apart from a handful of foods, and it really is literally a handful of foods, I can eat anything you can eat. Just a little bit of it. Now, that's not what I choose to eat, but what I can eat is literally anything you eat, just only a tiny portion of it. That's not what I choose to eat. Now, I choose to eat a very high protein diet because that helps keep me healthy and it helps keep me energized. Obviously, because of the sheer quantity of food that I can eat in a day, it is not possible for me to fuel my body through calories. Now, most people put enough calories in for their body to be able to function, to just get through the day. I can't physically eat enough, healthily, to get enough calories in. Sure, I could eat enough calories if I ate chocolate and drank energy drinks, but that's not going to keep me healthy. So I have to fuel my body through protein. So I choose to eat a very high protein diet, but again, it's small quantities. So I still have a protein shake for breakfast every morning because it is a massive hit of protein first thing in the morning, fills me up, it gives me a good solid go for the day. I grabbed these out before. A typical kind of like lazy at home, just want to whip something together, lunch kind of, we've all got that go-to, would definitely be crackers. So 3 of these, and I would put maybe a thick layer of cream cheese and then some big slices of like a soft cheese, like camembert, brie, something like that, or cream cheese and sliced chicken, something like that. Basically, this is just the envelope to put the protein on top. 3 of those, that would be my lunch. Done. That's all I do for lunch. Soup might be a cup of soup, like a cupful of a nice thick soup. Might add some protein powder or something to it, depending on the flavour of soup. So I choose to eat a very high protein diet, but in terms of what I can physically eat, anything you can eat, bar certain things like steak. No way would steak go down. I haven't even tried, but I know it would get to about here and it would come straight back up. There's just no way. It'd be way too tough. Another thing that I haven't tried, but I also know would be no good for me based on what I've been told by everybody, is pork. Pork is a very, very tough meat to digest as well. So I just haven't gone there. But yeah, I can eat your pavlova. I just have a small bit. I can have cheesecake. I just have a small bit. So I can eat anything anyone else can eat. I might just have to look at my quantities. This one's quite a funny one. It's like, I just wrote it down as, who are you again? Now, this is honestly more common than I predicted. Prime example, okay? Just before the end of the year, actually it was the day that my cat passed away. I went into my child's classroom at school to pick him up early from school to bring him home, to let him know, to tell him that we had to put him down. Now, because of COVID, because of he's 9, because of everything else going on, I had not seen his school teacher since the beginning of last year. Actually, in fact, it was before surgery. So it would have been early February last year. He had her previous years, so I knew her well. We've spoken, we've spent time together, like she knew me well. So I saw her at the beginning of the year. Potentially she may not have even known I had surgery, that I'm not sure. I then popped in there beginning of December. Walked into the classroom, saw her, smiled, started chatting to her, quickly realized she didn't have the faintest idea who I was. When I realized this, I slipped Ashton's name in, and I'm like, oh, so where is Ashton? And she's like, and she literally went, oh, Marie. Because of course, inside my brain, looking out of my eyeballs, I'm the same person, right? I'm the same person. I live in the same house, I drive the same car, I have the same child, I'm the same person. I forget that I look different to other people. And if they haven't seen me for quite some time, I forget that they may have absolutely no clue in the faintest who I am. And it always gives me a giggle. Because honestly, like, to me, I'm still me. Nothing's changed. And I forget how much on the outside I have changed. So that's a bit of a giggle when I'm just chatting away, assuming that they know who I am, and they really have no idea in the faintest. So that always makes me giggle. What protein powder are you using? I have settled on NZ Protein. So just nzprotein.co.nz. I use their New Zealand whey powder. So I buy the flavored stuff for my protein shakes in the morning. And then I have a tasteless protein powder that I then add to soups. If I do like some eggs or something like that, I will add my tasteless protein to that, just for an extra protein hit if I'm wanting to put it into food. So NZ Protein is my shakes, and I'm just trying to read it from here. I think it's Feel Good tasteless. If you just Google tasteless protein, you'll see it. It's in like a blue bag. Amazing stuff. So I do go through a fair bit of protein powder, but I'm okay with that because it's a good way of getting a good hit of protein. I found the flavors that I like. That's what I do. Another question, very, very common go-to question of people is, you must feel amazing. Like, your body, like, you must just feel incredible. Now, this one's quite an interesting one. When I went into surgery, if we look at the psychological things first, I was never embarrassed by my size. I would get embarrassed by the limitations that my size gave me, but I wasn't ashamed of how I looked. In my Pure Romance by Marie business, I would put the lingerie on. If we had a new lingerie launch, I would put that lingerie on and I would take a photo of me in that lingerie and I would share it in my VIP group. It's over 1,000 women in there. I was not ashamed of how I looked. Because I truly believe that sexy is an attitude, not a dress size. And I preach this through my business. Sexy is not a size on the scale. Sexy is not a dress size. Sexy is none of these things. Sexy is an attitude. When you feel beautiful, when you feel sexy, you are sexy. And I truly, truly believe that. And I lived by that. I also thought, I was well aware that my body was carrying around an excessive amount of extra weight. But I actually thought, I'm pretty lucky. My body's pretty good. I'd had a few ups and downs along the way. At one point, I did break a bone in my foot a couple of years ago. And the GP ever so slightly gently had to tell me that it's a bone that often breaks in obese people, simply from carrying the extra weight. So there's been a few ups and downs along the way, sure. But in general, I'm like, my body's coping fine. Sure, if I go for a big walk today, my knees will hurt, but otherwise we're all good. But do you know what? It's not until you lose the weight that you realize the pain you were in. I would tell everyone I'm not in pain. My ankles, my knees, sure, if I do a lot of exercise, it'll hurt that night, but then it'll be fine again. I truly thought I had no pain, no day-to-day pain. But it's only now that I truly have no pain that I realize that I lived with pain. I lived with a lot of pain in my ankles, my knees, and my hips, and my back. I lived with that pain for so long that I didn't even know I was in pain. I honestly did not recognize it as pain. And it's only now that I'm not in pain then I can see I was in pain. And I know that sounds bizarre. I know that sounds weird. I've tried to wrap my head around it myself, but it's the honest truth. So yeah, my body feels great now. You know, 58 kilos down. That is more weight than my 9-year-old and my 8-year-old Staffy dog combined. And if I imagine now trying to lift the dog under one arm and the child under the other, that would be tough. And that was weight that I literally carried around to the toilet, to get out of bed, to do the school run. Like, I literally carried that weight everywhere. 58 kilos. Like, next time you're at, you know, your home hardware store, at your Bunnings, your Mitre 10, whatever, and you see like a bag of concrete, those big sacks of concretes are only 40 kilos. You try and lift that up, and I have lost more than that. I've lost almost 50% more than that. And I carried that everywhere. Everywhere with me. Even just sitting up out of bed, I had to lift that extra weight. So, yeah, my body feels amazing. It really, really does. It feels incredible. But it's only now that I can see that. Because before I would have said my body was fine. And another life-changing thing I have discovered is that bras, they don't have to be uncomfortable. Like, I was totally always that woman that the instant I walked in that door at the end of the night, the instant that bra came off. Sure, it was comfy enough. You would wear it all day. It was fine. But when you took it off, that relief and that dread of having to put it back on if you found out someone was coming over to say hi after dinner, it's not there. And yes, I would get my bras fitted. Yes, I would get expensive ones. Yes, I would go to the fitting places. They would get the ones that fitted properly. We would try on the different styles. I'd get the most comfortable. Sure. But again, it's just the physical size. I will quite easily go to get in bed at night time, take my clothes off and be like, my bra's still on. That is unheard of. Like, I can work. Like, some of the nights over the last few weeks, I've been working to 3 a.m., 4 a.m. just because issues at home. I would never still have a bra on at 3 a.m. ever in my life. But I do now. Like, it doesn't even cross my mind to take it off. Why would I? I don't even notice I'm wearing it. That has been life-changing. That right there has totally been life-changing. So that's just some of the stuff. I mean, it's been a ramble. I know. That's how I do this. You're used to that now if you've been following for a while. But that's been some of the stuff I've noticed along the way. Some of the common questions and statements I get given. But really, today marks the first birthday of the new chapter of my life. The first year was tough. It was really tough. It was tough physically, and it was tough mentally, and it was tough financially. Remember, this is not a cheap surgery. I made huge, massive financial sacrifices, both of myself and my son, to get this surgery. But I'd do it all again. For the new lease on life that this has given me, for the opportunity to live life, not watch life. You can't even put a price on that. You honestly can't. And for well, I was going to say 1 year of suffering, but it wasn't even a year. For 4 months of absolute hell. Those first 4 months post-op were some of the darkest 4 months of my life. It was rough. I was sick. I was very sick. You'll recall I ended up in hospital for, I think it was like 10 days with a nasal tube in, being nasally fed. I was really, really, really sick. And as a single mum, self-employed, where if I don't work, I don't get paid, it was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. But you know what? In the scheme of things, such a small price to pay. And I would do it all again in a heartbeat. One of the best decisions I have ever made. And it will honestly be the best Valentine's Day present I could ever possibly get in my life. It was my Valentine's Day present to myself last year. And I can honestly say no one is ever going to be able to top it. So that's me. I'm going to sign off. I am definitely going to try drinking fizzy in the next few days with metal straw. See if that helps. But otherwise, that's a check-in from me. Again, thank you so much to everybody on here. You know, there's so many people on here that are complete strangers to me. You know, a lot of people on here not even living in New Zealand. We've got Americans, we've got English people. But I know your names. I see you comment every week. I see you cheering me on. A lot of you right from the start. So even though we might be strangers in person, I appreciate each and every one of you so much, because this right here has been my support crew that's got me through this. Couldn't have done it without you. So thank you so much. And let's keep losing this weight and see where we end up. Night, everyone.